What's up, Sales Mercs? It is Monday. Look, I was watching that, that section that you saw previously on that previous segment, courtesy of Grant Cardone. I don't own the audio, but you know what? It's all about. Look, the biggest opportunity is today in sales. Tell you what, purchased a car a month ago. The guy didn't transfer the plate. When you see that video from Grant, always talked about the follow-up. Always talked about if you made a mistake within the sales process, you got to call back. I had to contact the salesman. Hey, you forgot to transfer the plate, man. What's going on? If I was that salesman, I would have not only write you a handwritten note to apologize, I would have sent you a shirt or a hat or something that you bought your car out of my own paycheck. Not only kind of reestablish the sales process, I would probably go buy a cheap Nike shirt and Marshall, like a nice polo shirt, and send it to the guy. Because not only created more issues for me, I just got a letter from the DMV that I had to say, rule is not going to be a big deal, but now I have to waste my time within my day, which I'm very productive, right? The time is money for me, right? So anyway, that's the biggest opportunity in sales. So every morning I do my trainings, right? So listen to that segment from Grant. He basically tells the story of these three dudes that he was in Marbella and Malta. That's like a south coast in Spain. Very only really the wealthy, and there's some wealth that I when I used to work for a cruise line, I traveled to Monaco, and so there's a level of wealth that I don't think Americans have ever seen, right? Your normal folk that hasn't traveled abroad, you will not know or seen that amount of wealth. So Marbella is pretty wealthy. Yachts and like Monaco. Really into the high end. There's homeless. There's if you live there or if you go there, it means you have euros. You're really in the 1% of the 10% bracket. So he talks about these dudes that he was. They stay obviously. Grant stays in a nice hotel and see these guys. See, look at this millionaires or billion. They don't even look like they're happy. So we took a taxi. He takes a taxi. Goes to the streets of Marbella, and he sees these three dudes in jumpsuits, just smiling. Pat each other in the back and hey, blah, like having the best time of their lives, right? And there's a video that I posted, someone posted it, and take this trash dude that is literally on the back of the trash, a dump truck, and he's just like driving the back and just jumping and do some, do cartwheels and picking up the trash in the streets and running. I believe he was like in Rio de Janeiro. He was happy, just the happiest guy that you ever seen. He was smiling, like playing basketball and with the trash bags and this. And that's kind of like the analogy that's from Grant. He said this, and they're probably these guys are gonna go home. Hey, honey, how was your day? Oh, no, it's okay. Because they forgot that they were happy when they were working with other people, right? So your partnership with your wife is the best, or your partnership with your business partner, because once you are like, I miss going, I'm remotely, we're about to change that within the next couple of months. I miss being on a team, being on a place that you're making calls and we used to compete with each other. And I'm a huge fan of Grant, not only because it's, either you love him or you hate him. I think successful people are, normally hated because usually losers hate the winners. I love success. So every time someone wins and I see this level of success that individuals have achieved, it's like, hey, I'm going there. It's not stopping me to go where where they're going. So if they can do it, I can do it, right? But that's why the training part, right? So me being remote for 2 years, I've been like, making calls. I can be in an office by myself, making calls, making appointments. So once I go into real estate, I'm going to be like, I'm telling you, and I'm going to tell you later on what we've been working on it. But right now, it's all about the ability of it is Monday, and it was trained. And it's funny because this that train of Grant Cardone, he actually talks about his training. He needs to have data, right? So it's Memorial Day. So actually we're in May. Memorial Day weekend is coming on a Monday. So you have most people they're going to be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So 4 days off. But in the car industry, Memorial Day weekend is the biggest sales day of all. So he talks about, Memorial Day, right? So it's like, you guys need to start calling people, if you don't have anything in the future. Like he talks about when he was doing a few years ago, he did his big 10X conference. He said, when is my 10X? What's my 10X? It's 53 days from now, right? So when he's calling those dealerships, he's like, well, you know what? Do you have something in the future? Well, that's why you're not making any money. If you don't have something in the future to looking forward to, you're less motivated, and that's why people don't make any money. Because I can guarantee you, when people actually schedule vacation in advance, the only can think about it is they don't even work hard as they should. They only think about 2 months from that day, they're going to go on vacation for a week, for 2 weeks, whatever the case might be. And they cannot wait to be on a vacation. The same thing with work. So he's actually calling to these people and says, I'm going to show you how to do a quick survey. So he called this dude that he obviously had already contact and say, listen, how much would it cost to train your people? Just give me a number. And he was like, give me a number. And I said, okay, so it costs, what is going to stop the turnover for your people or train some people? So it takes about $1,000 per head. And they just basically hang out the fun, and this is pretty funny. But anyway, so when you don't know his number, so he's training these people live. It's you guys got to call to these people. So you already found out a survey. It takes about, so when you call your dealerships to sell my program, say, we just talked about one of the biggest dealerships in the country, and basically told us that it takes about $1,000 per head to train to start the turnover, right? So I'm about to give you a deal. For $500 a month, I can train 20 of your people, or 50, how many people you have, and Grant is going to give you everything he has ever produced. The personality test, the follow-up, the all these programs for free, right? And but he's training these folks how to talk to people. The more you talk to, and all this, I think he has probably the best sales trainer programs in the country, or in the world, probably in sales. And obviously you see now the new high ticket salespeople. They're trying to basically emulate or whatever the case might be. But everything is in the follow-up. And when I was talking to my wife the other day. He says, look, what happened on my car when the license plate, because now it was an issue with, he should have fixed that moment. He should have put all the papers, transfer that day, right? That day he created a problem, right? So when he was obviously able to fix it right away, and it was kind of hesitant a little bit. He took a final, right? So the sale didn't end when I purchased the car. The sale starts when I need something that it car something was because, whatever the case might be. The follow-up. I do calls all day. And the biggest money that I ever made in my sales career, it happens in the follow-up. And I've been follow up this account that is, it's about $20K, but I get the percentage of that $20K. But I've been follow up this account for 2 months. Customer is installing, and I pick up the phone, so I'm following up. So every week, man. So every for now, I'm gonna call every week. We're allowed to call every week, so I'm gonna call every week. Every week, I'm gonna leave a message every Wednesday. Boom, boom, until I can guarantee you this lady's gonna call me. Oh, because I can guarantee you they don't want to pay that money. I know they have the money. Because this chick paid me $5,500 last week. We're talking, and look at that. So obviously, because it sounds like the husband makes the money, right? So she was taking a break from work. Looks like I saw because we can see some data birds, and she was pretty young, right? So because she was working in some unit, and she's taking off, like mental work, right? Which is understandable. There's no big deal, happened to all of us. And so he's trying to negotiate with me. And now, long story short, it was negotiating, blah blah blah. And I always tell people in sales, never, ever, ever prejudge the customers. And people in sales, they do it all the time. I don't care how successful they are. The lady that we just got an appointment, and I'm going to tell you later on that story. Pre-qualified, prejudges, no big deal. I'll tell you if I want to finish the story later on in a couple of months. But anyway, never prejudge the customer. So talking to the lady to try to negotiate, I said, no, I'm going to take some money regardless out of this chick today. So long story short, we were, blah, blah, blah. Well, I have a... Listen, so you're ready. I give her a good discount, but anyway. So I have a Platinum Amex. And I was like, ha! Her car was done, so she gave me the husband's car. For some reason, the car must be like some sort of block. But she gave me the husband, a Platinum Amex. If you own a Platinum Amex, you have money. But I didn't. It took me 28 minutes to close that woman. But guess what? I took $5,500 out of the Amex car, Platinum. If I would have been like, 28 minutes. That's a true salesman, brothers. 28 minutes in a call, and actually kind of like most of toward the end of the call was not even a negotiate. It was already built rapport. I was talking about which I never do, but I've been sober for 5 years, and we were talking. She was a nurse. We were talking about blah blah blah. But so she felt compelled. Like, okay, I'll give this guy the money. Build rapport. But the most important thing is never prejudge a bloody customer. We love doing that, man. We love doing that. If I were to be prejudging this nurse, because what did you for? Oh, I was a nurse. There's no way that nurse is gonna have an Amex Platinum. Well, the husband had the Platinum. We are in the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of the world, ladies and gents. And there's depends where you live, what market are you in, but there's no shortage of money. And Grant always talks about this stuff. Grant always talked about this. The first condo we lived right across from one of the biggest golf clubs in North Carolina. Proximity. They charge you $22,000 just to become a member of that golf club. just one time 22,000 plus obviously your monthly fees, but 20. So if you live in that area, of course we're in the condos where we're renting. So proximity, you gotta have proximity. You know, my daughter, as I say, and then my stepdaughters are in. They were in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Tennessee, North Carolina. People are living in Miami because Miami is getting at the point it's too expensive. It's like too. I think this. I don't know. I mean, I don't like the humidity anyway. But North Carolina, it is North Carolina, Tennessee. That cluster is the Dubai of United States of America, and let me tell you why. Because you have the 4 seasons. It's a nice weather. People are moving away from the cold and the humidity, and they're moving to North Carolina and South Carolina because it's like the South, right? And plus, you know, the hurricanes, whatever, and you know, I don't know how the earth, but you know, being too close to the ocean, if you have like a tsunami or something, and I don't know. I don't want to be close to the ocean. I like to be in the mountains. But anyway, so sales, training, follow-up, abundance. We're in the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. I'm about to go on the phone since 8:30. Have a couple more minutes. I got up this morning, did my meditation, and it's just like I'm pumped. I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. Nice. You know, yesterday it was cold, man. I mean, even though it's a little chilly today, but the sun is out. Yesterday was a little windy, and we were doing some hiking. And by the way, subscribe to the channel. Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. Who is your biggest sales trainer? After me, of course. You know. Don't worry about me. Just put it in the chat or in the comments. Who is your biggest sales trainer and why? And share the post, save it, and keep training. It's Monday, right? And that's why we take short, quick trips, because, you know, I've been 5 years sober. I don't drink, obviously, but when Monday comes, I'm already rested. And guess what? We're off in Memorial Day weekend. We just go do a lot of running. We do a lot of our stuff, but it's coming. You know, a lot of people are going to be off. So if you can make some calls, I might make some calls. I mean, I can in the place that I'm going, but I'm going to make some calls. We're going to be doing some always. To me, I observe. We were in a restaurant yesterday, and then I observe, and I see what kind of the market is in, who's moving, who's buying, who's selling. You know, was it the demographics, and where I am located, it is phenomenal. But regardless of no, you got to work. So a lot of people confuse that, like I have a relative in overseas. Oh, you live in that, and that's funny because the maintenance it happened, and that's funny because, I'm telling you that before I go. The maintenance guy that moved from Colombia, he's been in the U.S. for a long time, and he just told me just a few months ago, you know what's going on with these people out in my country, that they think I'm a rich and they expect that they need some money and I need to send some money. He said, the same happened to me. People think because we live in the U.S., I'm like, and that's it. And
3 dudes look just like you 3 guys, right? Except they were in garbage uniforms, jumpsuits, and they're doing this. What are they doing? Throwing big freaking bags of garbage, man. All this garbage on the side of the road, and they're throwing it in their truck, okay? Laughing, patting each other on the back. What's going on? I said, man, those guys are happier than the people in the hotel. One reason. They're working, man. Dirty ass job. Everybody's looking at them. Look at that terrible job. Happier than everybody at the swimming pool. Probably gonna go home that night and tell their wives, how was today? Oh, it was terrible. Because they'll forget that they were happiest when they were working.
Subscribe to the channel. Go help somebody that can never. It's not because we live in the U.S. We're like a billionaires, and we're about to distribute the wealth for free for all these